Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be discussing my first initial thoughts and feelings on some of the brand new Transformers Studio Series figures which have just been released at Canada's Fan Expo. All of these images are courtesy of Cybertron Beast on Twitter. However, be sure to stay tuned for the high-res images when Hasbro eventually releases them, as I will be giving my more in-depth thoughts and analysis on those images when they're released. As you can see here, the first reveal we have is a Leader Class Dark of the Moon Shockwave. I really couldn't be happier, as Shockwave was one of the characters I really wanted a Studio Series figure of, and this is actually a Leader Class figure. I honestly cannot believe it. I've wanted a Leader Class Shockwave from Dark of the Moon for so many years, and finally we've been given it. Judging from this image, it does look incredible, and it will in fact turn into a Cybertronian tank. This will also include 3 other figures. It will include a miniature Wheelie and Brains, as well as a soldier on a parachute. If you've watched Dark of the Moon, you'll know that his ultimate demise is when, I believe, Nest come in on the parachutes and take his eyes out, and then Optimus gives the fatal blow. But I'm so surprised to see Wheelie and Brains here. It's a great inclusion that once again they didn't have to include, but I'm glad they did. However, it does kind of make me think that perhaps because they are including additional accessories with this figure, perhaps it's a similar Leader Class Dark of the Moon Megatron case with this figure, in the sense that perhaps it's not entirely Leader Class scale, but nevertheless it definitely does look like a major improvement over the original Voyager from Dark of the Moon, and I really couldn't be any happier with this reveal, as this is sure to be probably one of my most anticipated Studio Series figures ever. I really don't know what else they could do to blow my mind after this reveal. Shockwave has always been a character that I've wanted in the Studio Series ever since the line was announced, and I'm so glad that we finally have him. Once again, stay tuned for my high in-depth thoughts and analysis video when I eventually get the high-res images from Hasbro and Takara. But nevertheless, Shockwave, definitely a figure I'm going to be picking up, and definitely one of my most anticipated releases. But it doesn't end there. Another fantastic release is that of a 2007 MV1 Voyager class Megatron, which also looks absolutely incredible. Now, we have known of a MV1 Megatron for quite some time, however it wasn't really sure whenabouts it was going to come out. Now we finally have confirmation that this will in fact be a Voyager class and not a Leader class as initially expected. I am quite surprised to see it taking the Voyager class format, as I would have thought, considering how large the alien jet of Megatron's alt mode was in the 07 movie, that perhaps he would have been catered more towards a Leader price point. But nevertheless, this figure definitely looks great. The legs look very thick, and it does appear that he will in fact include a mace weapon. There are no confirmation yet on whether or not it will in fact include Frenzy, or if it will include Megatron's blaster, but what we get here definitely looks like a great set, and considering this is a Voyager, I do only expect to see the mace with this figure when it is released. Once again, the image isn't too clear, so I really can't see all of the details of the figure. You mainly do get just the silhouette, and I must say the paint apps on this figure don't necessarily look too interesting. He does appear to be majority grey, but that is to go with the character of Megatron in the movie, and I must say the sculpt here definitely looks really good. It's nowhere near as good as the movie Masterpiece figure, but this figure is going to be around £30, and the MPM figure was over 150, so I can definitely see why they've decided to go with this route for Megatron. Once again, so glad that we've got a MV1 Megatron in the line. He's the final figure that we needed to complete our 2007 Autobot and Decepticon cast, and once again, I really couldn't be happier. Both Megatron and Shockwave look incredible, and I cannot wait to add them to my collection. Turning now to the second Leader class figure announced for the Studio Series, here we have Constructicon Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Scavenger. This figure was also another really anticipated figure on my list, as I was really eager to see how Hasbro would upgrade the original Voyager class, and this figure does look incredible. Now, this is a figure that we knew was coming out and that we did know was going to be a Leader class due to the initial shot images we got of the Studio Series Devastator, and this figure really does look incredible. It looks extremely movie accurate, and they have actually decided to go with the colours of Scavenger as opposed to Demolisher, as in this image he is red as opposed to white, which is how he appeared at the beginning of the Revenge of the Fallen movie during the Shanghai battle. This figure looks great and once again seems to follow the same quality as the other Constructicons. I really just cannot wait now to complete Devastator. I believe the only figures after the next reveal I show are Overload and Scrapper to be announced. So those figures are sure to be really anticipated, as no one knows what those characters are going to look like, as they've never had a previous movie toy. However, as for Scavenger, he looks fantastic, and he is going to be a leader class, so it will be extremely interesting to see how he scales with the rest of the Transformers Studio Series toy line. And for the final reveal of the Canada Expo, here we have Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Mixmaster. Now this too also looks like a fantastic figure. I've got to say that looking by these images, it doesn't necessarily look any better than the original Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster, which was a really good figure, but this just looks just as good, so it'll be really interesting to see how this figure actually looks like in hand and will actually look like when I get the high-res images. We do not see any details of what Devastator's head will look like in the robot mode or truck mode of the figure, so I'll be really eager to see whereabouts those parts are hiding and how they'll actually manage to transform from a robot or a truck mode into Devastator's head, as I stated, there are no obvious Devastator head components situated on the robot mode or the truck mode. This figure looks really good and definitely looks like, once again, another really solid movie accurate release, and really does follow the same good quality that the rest of the Decepticon Constructicons have all obtained throughout the Studio Series. I cannot wait to add all of these figures to my collection. Each of the reveals that were shown today look absolutely incredible, and 2020 is definitely looking to shape up to be one of the best years for Studio Series releases, as I do believe that the Deluxe Wave that we got announced last month, as well as this Voyager and Leader Wave, are going to be the first entry into the 2020 Studio Series line, and each of these figures all look incredible. There really isn't a bad one whatsoever, and Shockwave is by far one of the figures that is my most anticipated figure ever. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know down in the comment section below, and be sure to stay tuned for my full in-depth thoughts and analysis video when the eventual high-res images of these figures come out. Thanks for watching.